Nothing has brought me greater joy than watching the Walt Disney Company absolutely panic over the last few weeks. They're mad at South Park because they're making fun of their woke ideologies, constantly race swapping or religion swapping everything in their movies.
Here's a rewritten version of the script. Get ready for a brand new, exclusive event featuring all your favorite South Park characters. I had explosive diarrhea all night, dude. School's gonna be awesome today. Oh, hamburgers. I like big boobs. What? How does any of this make sense? It makes perfect sense. The real issue is you too. As expected, South Park has once again taken aim at Disney's woke agenda by parodying the direction they've been taking with projects like Rachel Zegler's Snow White and other upcoming films. South Park has always been quick to tackle what they see as the excesses of mainstream entertainment, and this time they've gone all in. Their latest episode, titled Into the Panderverse, sees the characters Cartman, Stan, Butters, and Kenny all being gender and race swapped into adult women of color. The episode takes a sharp, satirical jab at the trend Disney has been following, particularly in its reimaginings of classic stories. This isn't the first time South Park has targeted Disney's choices, but this time, Rachel Zegler seems to be especially upset by the criticism. The backlash comes largely from her role as Snow White in Disney's live-action remake. Many fans were unhappy with the casting choice, as Zegler is Latina, and there's been controversy over changes made to the original story, which some feel undermine its core themes. Disney has made the movie more empowering and feminist, but at the cost of altering key aspects of the original fairy tale. One of the most notable changes is the removal of the romantic aspect between Snow White and the prince. Zegler herself has even hinted that the prince may be completely absent from the story in some versions.
Snacks all over the set that are apple flavored, and that hurts my feelings.
I was gonna say,
it's like they don't know what happens to me. There's gonna be so many stories that come from the set about how difficult I am to work with simply because I don't want apples. In a dress of an iconic Disney princess, I deserve to be paid for every hour that it is.
So that is Rachel Zegler. She is casted as Snow White in the upcoming new movie. And ever since she has been casted, she has been problematic from the start. Every single interview that she does, her tone of voice is very rude and she comes off very rude. The movie right now has such bad publicity because of her and her.
Really about the love story at all, and whether or not she finds love along the way, who knows? It's Hollywood, baby. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. We'll see. Many people have criticized Rachel Zegler for her attitude too. Many people have criticized Rachel Zegler for her attitude towards the role, with some calling her comments ungrateful or entitled. This whole situation has stirred up quite a bit of tension, with fans divided over the changes to a beloved classic. This version streamlines the ideas a bit, making the flow smoother and more concise, while still capturing the core points of the original script. Rewritten version of the script with improved flow and clarity. Fans, especially after her interviews, are furious with Rachel Zegler, mainly because of the way she's been framing the original Snow White story as horrible. It's as if she believes this new version, one that almost doesn't resemble the original tale, is the only right way to tell the story. Disney hasn't just altered the seven dwarfs, which are central to the original title, but they've also significantly reduced the prince's role. Snow White doesn't fall in love with him in this version, and in fact, there's almost no romantic connection at all. The backlash isn't just about Zegler's casting as a Latina actress, though that's been controversial, especially since the original Snow White was specifically described as having skin as white as snow. The casting choice seems to complicate the name's relevance in the new movie. This choice mirrors the controversy around The Little Mermaid earlier in the year, which also sparked outrage over a race swap that some fans felt was unnecessary. However, while The Little Mermaid mostly retained the original elements of the story, Snow White has been so drastically altered that it no longer even resembles the beloved classic. This is exactly why Comedy Central and South Park have jumped in with a new special called Into the Panderverse. The show parodies the industry's trend of race and gender-swapping characters to make them fit more modern narratives, calling attention to how absurd these changes can sometimes feel. The episode isn't just targeting Disney, it mocks all studios that seem to cater to woke audiences, but the focus is clearly on Disney due to their treatment of Snow White and Rachel Zegler, along with the Little Mermaid's controversial casting. The central point of the South Park special is to highlight that simply changing ethnicity and gender doesn't equate to real diversity, especially in a pre-existing story like Snow White. The original tale was never about exploring ethnic diversity, so these changes can feel out of place and forced. It also points out how many of these changes feel superficial, as if the studios are just checking off a diversity box rather than adding depth to the story. The episode particularly mocks Disney for casting Zegler in the lead role, as it feels like more of a marketing strategy than a meaningful contribution to the narrative. This is not the first time South Park has targeted Disney for its woke tendencies. In 2022, they took jabs at the streaming wars in a controversial two-part episode, and now they're back with a fresh critique aimed squarely at Disney. The studio, clearly frustrated with these continuous mockeries, is reportedly trying to prevent future South Park episodes that directly challenge their business model. They've been working on a strategy to soften the blow, hoping that a direct meeting with South Park creators Matt Stone and Trey Parker might convince them to stop making these parodies. Disney has long claimed they're committed to creating more diverse stories, but instead of developing original narratives that reflect these values, they're choosing to remake classic films by race-swapping characters. While it's an attempt to reflect a broader range of voices, many critics argue it's done at the expense of the original characters and stories. South Park is calling out this approach as a shallow attempt to appease a certain audience without actually engaging in thoughtful, meaningful diversity. The South Park creators have been unafraid to step on toes, whether it's Disney, the Star Wars franchise, which Disney acquired, or even the beloved Mickey Mouse. But this new episode may be their most controversial yet, not just for criticizing Disney, but also for mocking other studios that follow similar patterns. It's a direct challenge to the idea that changing iconic characters is the best way to promote diversity, instead of telling new, thoughtful stories. One of the most frustrating changes to fans is the removal of the romance between Snow White and the prince. Fans argue that love doesn't have to be seen as outdated or a step back for female empowerment. Snow White could still be a powerful, independent character while also having a romantic arc, making the story more relatable to viewers who cherished the original. By stripping away this connection, Disney has left many feeling disconnected from the story and its characters. Criticism of Rachel Zegler has grown, as she's been a vocal supporter of these changes. She's publicly shared how much she dislikes the original Snow White story, making it clear that she never had a real connection to the character. This, combined with her ongoing support for altering the story, has left many fans feeling alienated. So, what do you think about South Park's take on Disney's recent projects and Rachel Zegler's role in Snow White? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to check out our next video. This revised version streamlines the script for better readability while keeping the tone and message intact. It also sharpens the critique, focusing more on the specific issues with Snow White and the broader conversation about diversity in media. Video.